The psychology of money explores the complex ways people think about wealth and personal finance, revealing that managing money successfully is more about understanding human behavior than mastering math. It delves into how emotions, experiences, and mindsets influence financial decisions, often more than logic or strategy. Through engaging stories and insightful observations, it challenges conventional wisdom about wealth and highlights the importance of patience, risk management, and a long-term perspective in achieving financial well-being. Ultimately, it emphasizes that success with money isn't just about knowledge, it's about managing your psychology. No one's crazy. Everyone approaches money differently, and that's because we all have different life experiences that shape our financial behaviors. No one has the same background, upbringing, or exposure to money, and these personal experiences heavily influence how we make decisions about finances. Some people might have grown up in wealth, making them more comfortable with risk, while others may have experienced financial hardship, leading them to be more cautious. There's no universally correct approach because what works for one person might not work for another. This means that people often seem irrational to others when it comes to money, but they're actually acting based on their own context and emotions. When we look at someone else's financial choices, it's easy to judge or think they're making mistakes. However, their decisions make perfect sense to them based on their experiences, emotions, and the lessons they've internalized. This helps explain why financial advice is often hard to follow. It's based on general rules, while people's situations are anything but general. Money isn't just math, it's behavioral, driven by emotions, and influenced by our personal stories. Understanding this can help us be more empathetic and less judgmental of others' financial choices, and also allow us to reflect on our own behaviors with more clarity. Recognizing the diversity of experiences with money is key to understanding why people manage finances in vastly different ways. Luck and risk. Success with money often involves a mix of luck and risk, and it's important to recognize both when evaluating financial outcomes. Luck plays a huge role in many people's financial success, though it's easy to overlook. Sometimes being in the right place at the right time or knowing the right people can make all the difference. On the flip side, risk is always present. Even the best decisions carry uncertainty, and factors beyond anyone's control can influence the outcome. We tend to highlight the role of skill in financial success, but this often downplays the impact of luck. The truth is, that many things are outside our control, and the line between a good outcome and a bad one can sometimes be razor thin. Similarly, risk is an inherent part of financial decisions. You can make a well-calculated decision and still lose because of unforeseen circumstances. It's important to acknowledge that even great investors and entrepreneurs are subject to these forces. Rather than trying to eliminate risk entirely, it's more practical to balance risk and reward while acknowledging the role luck plays. Being humble about your successes and understanding that failures are not always due to bad decisions can help maintain a healthier perspective on money. By accepting the role of luck and risk, we can better manage our expectations and decisions regarding finances. Never enough. It's easy to fall into the trap of always wanting more, but this endless pursuit can lead to dissatisfaction. Many people think that accumulating wealth will lead to happiness, but they often find that no matter how much they have, it never feels like enough. There's always someone with more, and comparing yourself to others can create an insatiable desire to keep chasing wealth, even when it's unnecessary. Learning to define what enough means for you is critical. Having financial goals is important, but knowing when to stop or when you've reached a level of contentment is equally valuable. If you constantly move the goalposts, you'll never feel satisfied, and this can create stress and anxiety, rather than the peace of mind that financial stability should bring. It's crucial to recognize the point at which additional wealth no longer adds significant value to your life. The pursuit of wealth without boundaries can even lead to poor decisions, as people take on unnecessary risks in their quest for more. Knowing your limits and practicing contentment can protect you against burnout and bad financial choices. Ultimately, happiness comes from balance, having enough to live comfortably, while avoiding the pitfalls of never-ending greed. Confounding compounding. Compounding is one of the most powerful tools in wealth building, but its effects are often underestimated because it takes time to show results. The basic principle is simple: as your investments grow, they start to generate returns on themselves, leading to exponential growth over time. However, the power of compounding can feel slow at first, and many people don't have the patience to wait for it to kick in. This leads some to abandon their long-term plans for short-term gains, missing out on the full benefits. The key to making compounding work for you is consistency and time. Small, regular contributions to savings or investments, even if they seem insignificant at the moment, will accumulate over the years. The early stages of compounding can be frustrating because the growth seems minimal, but over time, the returns start to snowball. This is why long-term thinking is so essential in financial planning. Impatience can lead people to withdraw or change course before the magic of compounding truly begins. Compound growth isn't just a financial principle, it can apply to other areas of life as well. Whether it's relationships, learning, or career development, the small, consistent efforts you make today will have significant impacts in the future. By understanding and applying the power of compounding, you can set yourself up for long-term success, both financially and personally. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. One of the biggest challenges in financial success is not just the ability to build wealth, but also the skill required to preserve it. Achieving wealth often involves taking risks, being bold, and seizing opportunities. However, once you've built that wealth, the rules change. Preserving it demands a completely different mindset, one based on caution, patience, and sometimes, restraint. Many people make the mistake of continuing to take risks even after they've amassed significant wealth, which can lead to disastrous results. The real trick to staying wealthy is recognizing when to shift from offense to defense. Building wealth is a mix of ambition, skill, and sometimes luck. But holding on to it requires being humble enough to acknowledge that the world is unpredictable and that unforeseen events can rapidly erode your financial success. People who maintain their wealth often practice caution, leaving room for error and having contingency plans in place for market downturns or life's unexpected challenges. Preserving wealth also means knowing when enough is enough and not getting caught up in the chase for more. Finally, the act of preserving wealth requires a long-term perspective. Staying rich is about playing the long game, resisting the urge to make quick, short-sighted decisions in favor of steady, sustainable growth. It's also about mental discipline, knowing when to step back, and remembering that wealth is fragile if not carefully managed. Ultimately, the distinction between getting wealthy and staying wealthy lies in understanding the different attitudes and strategies each stage requires. Tails, you win. Financial success often hinges on a few key moments, those rare tails in life that account for a significant portion of one's overall wealth. Just as in nature, where a few outlier events have a massive impact, the same holds true for personal finance. A handful of smart decisions, lucky breaks, or unexpected opportunities can dramatically shape your financial future. The idea is that while many small actions might not yield big results, the few that do can lead to tremendous outcomes. In investing, for example, it's common for only a small number of investments to generate most of the returns. This is why it's important to be patient and stick with your strategies, even when it seems like things aren't progressing. Those rare, high-impact moments take time to manifest, and often, the bulk of financial rewards come from being in the right place at the right time. Understanding this principle is key to managing expectations and staying calm when things don't seem to be going as planned. Moreover, recognizing that the majority of your success might come from a few isolated instances helps foster resilience. Rather than being discouraged by setbacks, you learn to focus on the long term and trust that the tails will eventually emerge. It's a reminder that you don't need to succeed at everything, and it's okay if some decisions don't work out. What matters is capturing those big wins when they appear. Freedom. True wealth isn't just measured in terms of money, but also in the level of freedom it provides. At its core, wealth should give you the ability to control your time and live life on your own terms. Many people mistakenly believe that wealth is about luxury or excess, but the greatest value money can offer is the freedom to choose how you spend your days. Financial independence means being able to prioritize what truly matters to you, whether that's family, travel, or creative pursuits, without being bound by financial limitations. Having control over your time is one of the most valuable forms of wealth. It allows you to make decisions that align with your values and passions, rather than being driven by the need to make ends meet. This kind of freedom is what ultimately leads to happiness and fulfillment, more than any material possession ever could. It's about living a life that reflects your desires, rather than constantly chasing after external markers of success. The pursuit of financial freedom requires intentionality. It's about making conscious decisions, setting clear goals, and aligning your financial habits with your long-term vision. Whether it's saving diligently, avoiding unnecessary debt, or being mindful of your spending, the path to freedom is a gradual process that rewards discipline and focus. In the end, true wealth lies in the freedom to shape your life as you see fit. Man in the car paradox. Many people pursue wealth because they want to impress others. They buy expensive cars, wear designer clothes, or live in luxurious homes in the hope that these symbols will command respect and admiration. However, the paradox is that when others see these displays of wealth, they aren't actually admiring the person, they're imagining themselves in that position. The car doesn't make people admire you, it makes them think about how great they would feel driving it. This is the core of the man in the car paradox. The need to display wealth often stems from insecurity or the desire for validation. People mistakenly believe that material possessions will elevate their social status and bring them the respect they crave. But in reality, what impresses people the most is not your wealth, but your character, kindness, and the way you treat others. Trying to win admiration through possessions is a hollow pursuit because it only leads to more chasing after things that will never truly satisfy. The lesson here is to focus less on what others think and more on what brings you genuine fulfillment. True happiness doesn't come from external validation, but from living in alignment with your values and priorities. When you realize that no one cares as much about your material wealth as you think, it frees you from the need to keep up appearances and allows you to focus on what truly matters in life. Wealth is what you don't see. The wealth you don't see is the money saved, invested, and not spent. It's not the flashy car or the luxury house, it's the security that comes from having enough resources to handle emergencies, seize opportunities, and create freedom. When someone spends extravagantly, it's often a sign of financial insecurity. The real wealth is hidden in the decisions not to spend, to live below one's means, and to save for the future. This mindset is difficult for many because our culture emphasizes visible success, expensive lifestyles and luxury goods, but the most financially successful people often go unnoticed. They don't feel the need to show their wealth through material things. Instead, they focus on saving and investing consistently over time, which builds financial independence. By understanding that wealth is what you don't see, you realize the importance of long-term thinking over short-term gratification. The more money saved and invested today, the more opportunities will arise in the future. It's about creating a financial buffer that allows you to make choices based on what you value most, whether it's time, freedom, or experiences, rather than being tied to material goods. Save money. Saving money isn't just about preparing for emergencies or retirement, it's about giving yourself options. When you save, you build a safety net that can protect you from financial stress and allow you to take advantage of opportunities when they arise. This habit of saving gives you control over your future and the freedom to make decisions based on what you truly want, rather than out of necessity. The act of saving itself isn't always glamorous, and it requires discipline, but the rewards are far-reaching. Saving money provides flexibility, whether that means the freedom to leave a job you don't like, take time off, or invest in opportunities that could change your life. It's a financial cushion that opens doors to choices you wouldn't have otherwise. In this way, saving money is not just a financial strategy, it's a tool for personal freedom. Even small amounts saved consistently can grow over time, thanks to the power of compound interest. The key is to start early and maintain a habit of saving, regardless of income level. Whether it's for an unexpected expense, a future goal, or simply peace of mind, saving money gives you control over your life and your financial destiny. Reasonable is greater than rational. When it comes to managing money, making reasonable decisions is often better than making purely rational ones. People are emotional creatures, and financial decisions are deeply personal, and tied to our backgrounds, experiences, and beliefs. What might be the most rational choice from a purely financial perspective may not always be what feels right for an individual. For example, someone may choose to pay off their mortgage early even if, rationally, investing that money elsewhere could yield a higher return. The emotional security of being debt-free can outweigh the mathematical benefits of alternative investments. It's important to recognize that financial decisions should reflect not only numbers but also personal comfort and peace of mind. Each person's situation is unique, and what might be rational for one individual could be unreasonable for another based on their specific circumstances. This is why making decisions that are reasonable to you, ones that align with your values and give you a sense of security, often leads to better outcomes than trying to follow purely rational advice. The most successful financial strategies are those that blend rational principles with a deep understanding of one's own emotional and psychological needs. By doing what feels reasonable, rather than trying to chase perfect rationality, individuals are more likely to stick to their plans, stay consistent, and ultimately reach their financial goals with greater ease. Surprise. Life is full of surprises, and so is finance. No matter how well we plan or how disciplined we are with our money, unexpected events will always occur. Whether it's a sudden medical expense, a job loss, or a global economic downturn, surprises are inevitable. The key is not to try to predict every possible event but to build a financial strategy that can absorb these shocks. This is where having a margin of safety, through saving and living below your means, becomes essential. Financial plans need to be flexible enough to adapt to the unpredictable nature of life. Rigid plans that assume everything will go perfectly are likely to fail when surprises arise. By preparing for the unexpected and having a cushion, you can weather financial storms and still stay on track with your long-term goals. By expecting surprises and embracing uncertainty, you approach financial planning with more resilience and adaptability. Plans that assume everything will go smoothly are prone to fail when life throws unexpected challenges, but if you create a buffer, whether through savings or living below your means, you can still stay on track. Whether it's an unexpected medical bill, a sudden job loss, or a downturn in the economy, financial stability comes from having built a margin of safety into your plan. This cushion allows you to handle shocks with less stress and keep your long-term goals intact. Understanding that surprises are inevitable makes it easier to deal with them when they arise. Instead of reacting in panic, you can adapt calmly, knowing that you've prepared for life's unpredictability. Flexibility is key. Plans that allow for change and growth over time are far more sustainable than rigid ones. Accepting that not everything can be foreseen or controlled helps shift your mindset from fear to readiness, allowing you to thrive even when the unexpected happens. Room for error. In life and finances, things rarely go exactly as planned. Having a buffer or a margin of safety is crucial to weather unexpected events. Whether it's the economy fluctuating, job losses, or personal emergencies, leaving room for error provides protection and flexibility. It's about planning with the understanding that surprises will happen and ensuring you have enough leeway to adapt when things don't go as expected. This mindset can apply to saving money, making investments, or even how you structure your goals in life. The beauty of allowing room for error is that it reduces stress and allows you to make decisions from a position of security. It's not about being overly cautious, but about recognizing that uncertainties are part of the journey. By building a cushion, you are less likely to make decisions out of fear or desperation when the unexpected strikes. Instead, you remain calm and able to adjust without derailing your entire plan. This flexibility can be the difference between surviving tough times and thriving. Additionally, planning with a margin for error promotes long-term thinking. Instead of focusing on what's possible under perfect conditions, you anticipate that things may go wrong and prepare accordingly. This approach creates a buffer in your finances, investments, and life goals, ensuring you can withstand setbacks without losing momentum. It's about having the resilience to bounce back and continue moving forward despite the inevitable obstacles. You'll change. People's goals, desires, and preferences evolve over time, which is why it's important to remain flexible in financial planning. What you think you want today might not be what you desire in 10 or 20 years. As life progresses, experiences shape your values and aspirations, meaning that the financial goals you set now may need to be adjusted later. It's critical to keep this in mind so you don't feel trapped by your earlier decisions. The key to successful long-term planning is acknowledging this natural change. Instead of rigidly sticking to one vision of success, it's helpful to check in with yourself periodically to ensure your goals still align with who you are. For example, the idea of a dream home or early retirement might feel different once you've achieved certain milestones. This doesn't mean you were wrong before, it just means you are growing and your priorities are shifting. This flexibility isn't just about adjusting goals, but also about making room for new opportunities. As you evolve, so do your circumstances. You may discover passions or interests later in life that weren't part of your original plan. By remaining open to change, you allow yourself to pursue new paths without feeling restricted by past decisions. This adaptive mindset ensures that your financial life supports your personal growth, not limits it. Nothing's free. Everything in life has a cost, and that includes financial success, happiness, and peace of mind. Whether it's the time you spend working, the effort you put into your relationships, or the risks you take with investments, there's always a trade-off involved. Understanding this helps you make informed decisions about what you are willing to pay for your goals. The cost isn't always monetary, it can also be emotional, physical, or mental effort. Recognizing these hidden costs allows you to decide what truly matters. The most common trade-off is between time and money. Pursuing wealth often comes with the cost of time and energy, which may mean less time with loved ones or less freedom to pursue personal interests. On the flip side, having more time may come at the cost of earning potential. The balance between these factors is different for everyone, but it's important to consciously weigh the cost of your choices rather than letting them control you. Understanding the concept of cost also helps you avoid falling into the trap of thinking that success or happiness can be achieved without effort. Anything worthwhile requires some level of sacrifice, and it's up to you to determine which sacrifices are worth making. Being aware of the costs of your goals enables you to pursue them with clarity and purpose, ensuring that you are getting the value you truly seek. You and me. Different people have different perspectives on money, and these differences can be shaped by the time period or environment in which they grew up. For example, someone raised during an economic boom might have a more optimistic view of risk and investment, while someone who grew up during a recession might be more cautious. These generational experiences influence how people approach saving, spending, and investing, and understanding these differences can help improve communication and decision-making. This difference in attitudes toward money can also create conflict in relationships or work environments, where people from diverse backgrounds might have very different views on financial matters. Understanding where others are coming from can foster empathy and better collaboration when it comes to making joint decisions. It also highlights the importance of tailoring financial advice to the individual, as no one strategy works for everyone. Moreover, recognizing these varying perspectives can lead to a more inclusive view of financial success. What works for one person may not work for another, and that's okay. By accepting that different generations and individuals have unique experiences and attitudes toward money, we can broaden our understanding of success, allowing for multiple paths to financial well-being. This inclusive approach respects diversity and creates more opportunities for success across different demographics. The seduction of pessimism. It's easy to fall into the trap of pessimism. Throughout history, bad news has often been more alluring than good news. People tend to listen more intently when things are going wrong than when they're going right. This natural inclination can make pessimism feel more truthful, as if expecting the worst will somehow prepare us for it. Yet, Consistently leaning toward negativity can cloud our judgment and push us to make poor financial decisions, like avoiding investments or missing opportunities because we're too focused on the risk of failure. In the financial world, pessimism can be seductive because it feels like the safer option. It's easier to imagine a financial downturn than a boom, so people often prepare for the worst, missing out on the potential growth. Fear of market crashes or recessions often leads individuals to pull out investments or avoid opportunities altogether. But history shows that the economy generally trends upward over time, and those who remain optimistic and patient tend to benefit more in the long run. That said, balance is essential. While pessimism can derail wealth building, blind optimism isn't the answer either. The best approach is to recognize that risk and uncertainty are part of life, but they don't have to control your actions. It's about maintaining a realistic but positive outlook and understanding that even though downturns are inevitable, they're often temporary. Patience and perseverance can yield significant rewards, while too much pessimism can keep you from ever making progress. When you'll believe anything. In the world of finance, people often believe in stories over data. Humans are drawn to narratives, and the financial markets are no exception. Whether it's the story of a booming stock or the allure of a new investment trend, people are more likely to be swayed by a compelling tale than by statistics. This can lead to irrational decisions based on hype rather than solid information. The media and financial institutions sometimes capitalize on this tendency, pushing stories that provoke emotional responses rather than presenting the full picture. The problem is that stories are not always reflective of reality, especially when it comes to money. When people believe in a market trend or investment strategy based purely on the success story of someone else, they fail to account for the individual circumstances that made that story possible. What worked for one person might not work for another. Financial decisions should be based on solid data, historical patterns, and careful analysis rather than being swayed by emotional or sensationalized stories. At the same time, it's important to understand that we're all susceptible to this bias. Recognizing when you're being influenced by a story rather than facts can help you make better financial decisions. It's about stepping back and asking yourself whether the decisions you're making are based on solid reasoning or whether you're being swayed by a powerful narrative that doesn't apply to your own situation. All together now. The road to financial success is not about any one single decision, it's about a series of small, manageable choices made over time. There's no magic formula or single action that will instantly create wealth or solve financial issues. Instead, it's the accumulation of good habits, careful planning, and disciplined spending that ultimately makes the difference. Financial success is a marathon, not a sprint, and the process is often more important than the outcome. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that one big break will change everything, but the reality is that it's the consistent, everyday decisions that matter most. Saving a little each month, investing wisely, and avoiding unnecessary debt are habits that build a strong financial foundation. Over time, these small actions compound, creating wealth and security in ways that may not be immediately visible but are incredibly powerful in the long run. To reach financial goals, it's essential to adopt a mindset that embraces patience and consistency. While the idea of overnight success can be tempting, true financial stability comes from sticking to a plan and making incremental progress. It's all about putting the pieces together, bit by bit, decision by decision, and understanding that the journey is just as important as the destination. The end. Financial goals and aspirations are constantly evolving as life changes. What you prioritize today may not be the same in 5 or 10 years, and that's okay. The key is to stay adaptable, keep learning, and understand that financial success is not a final destination, but an ongoing process. There will always be new challenges, opportunities, and risks, and the ability to adjust your plans is crucial for long-term financial well-being. It's important to keep in mind that your relationship with money is deeply personal. What works for one person may not work for another, and it's essential to build a financial strategy that suits your own needs and goals. Avoiding comparison with others and focusing on your individual circumstances will help you make better decisions and feel more content with your progress. Ultimately, financial success is about more than just money. It's about freedom, security, and the ability to live life on your own terms. By staying mindful of your decisions, being patient, and maintaining a positive attitude toward the future, you can achieve not only financial stability but also the peace of mind that comes with knowing you are in control of your financial destiny.